get this to see what this is about. So this is amazing. Now, when it was first introduced to me, I was like a lot of people, okay, whatever. How is this going to help me? What is the big deal with this notebook? Well, this is the free version that I'm on. And as you know, with a lot of AI tools, there's a free version and then there is a version that you pay for. The free version is just that, it's free and it allows you to do 50 notebooks. Okay. So you're probably thinking, well, what's the big deal? A notebook? Why would I need this? Well, this is not your ordinary notebook. If you have been in the profession of child welfare, if you are running your own business, if you want to create any type of content, if you want to just organize your life, this is the method. This is what you want to do to actually do that. And I've already gotten started with a couple of different things, and I'm on two different versions because I wanted to be on my business version instead of this is my personal version. But what I'm going to do here is I'm going to just show you and give you an overview of what this is. So this is what it looks like. And what you want to do is let's just say you want to create a new notebook. I do a lot of writing. I do a lot of things along the lines of public speaking, creating content, training. And in my Google Drive, I had everything all over the place. It was just a mess in there. What this allows you to do is when you press on create a new notebook or create a notebook, it allows you to pull links from your Google Drive. You can pull them from a website. You can pull them from YouTube. You can copy text and paste it in. All right. So you're thinking, okay, what's the big deal with that? That's probably what you're wondering. So I'll just go to the Google Drive real quick and I'll put in something, I'm just going to pick anything from my Google Drive that is is something that I want to share. Okay, so I'll go to The Unmuted. All right, and this is a book that I'm working on actually. It's called The Unmuted Playbook. What it does is it pulls up your document and then it summarizes it. So the unmuted speaker system acts as a comprehensive organizational toolkit designed to help orators develop and refine their presentations. So not only is this a book that I'm working on, but I also have a whole communication uh, strategy that I'm working on, and it's summarizing what this document is basically saying. It features a voice vault for cataloging personal narratives and creative rhymes, ensuring speakers have a rich repository of material to draw from through a speech sculptor. It's basically summarizing this document. Users can access structure templates and worksheets, the guide and transformation of raw ideas into cohesive, impactful drafts. This system also emphasizes performance readiness by providing a checklist, mental affirmation to boost confidence before competition by focusing on a thematic consistency and audience engagement. Now, I didn't write this. This is just it summarizing the document and what I'm trying to do. But what it does is it summarizes the document, what I want to do, and then it says, how does this system help speakers organize their stories, themes for impactful delivery? This is a question that it's asking, and then it comes up. It's going through the document, gathering facts so that it can analyze it, and then it's going to actually answer that question. All right. And it's highlighting the system impact. It's really going through a way. And then it gives additional information. All right. And so it says the unmuted speaker system helps speakers organize their content, enhance delivery. And it's going to answer each one of these, is going to give you a note that you can go directly into so you can find additional information. All right. So that's what that part is for. And I'm not going to go through each one of the things that it's provided here, but it provides that. But this is where it gets really cool. It gives you those questions, but then it does something else. So let's just say that, you know what, I want to create a whole program for the groups that I'm working with. And this really works for social service organizations too, out of school time placement providers, caseworkers who need to have activities for youth that they're working with. I'm going to go for create an infographic. So I'm going to show off a little bit. So I'm going to tell it to create an infographic. And what it's doing right now is based off the information that I'm giving it, it's going to create an infographic. And, we're going to give it a few seconds to do that, but it's going to come up with the infographic. Now, this is one of the best notebooks that I have ever seen. When I saw this, I actually fell in love with it. And again, you can do 50 different notebooks. The reason that I fell in love with this is because Adela, one of the things that you have taught me, in organization and keeping things clutter free is you showed me how to use real notebooks, binders to keep materials organized when we were in the office. Well, what's great about this is it's going to do the same thing, but then it's going to enhance the materials that I already have by creating additional resources that can support that process. Now, this infographic is taking time, and we're waiting as we're taking time to do this. But when you see what it's going to do in terms of the color scheme, what it's going to do in terms of the structure, you're going to be simply blown away. And what I want to do is I want to walk you through each one of these things that it can do to really enhance any type of programming that you're doing here right now. You've gone to special training about doing here. You can put that in here. You have your information that you've come up with in terms of clutter-free lifestyles or work-life balance. You can organize all that information in here. All right, so it says it's done it in three parts, the unmuted speakers infographic. And I'm going to get ready to show you what that infographic is right now. Okay, boop, boop, boop. Now look at this, Adela.
Oh, wow.
Are you not blown away by this? Unlock
Oh,
your
wow.
voice. The three-part unmuted system. All right. Now I went to this first because this was one of my favorite things that it does. So it says step one, the voice vault. Gather your assets. Build a personal library of your best speaking materials. This is your repository for stories, rhymes, and core messages. Can you believe this? Look at that. Master the story tracker, rhyme bank, foundational phrases, which is something that I am known for. They're very important. These are the things that people remember you by, the phrases that stick. Then you have part two, the speech sculptor. Craft your message. Use structured templates to build your speech from the ground up. Can you imagine? And then you have the last part, step three, finalize your presentation with a focus on mindset and readiness. I am the light, I am the voice they're waiting for us. These are all of the things that really comprise my organization and what it's about, Light Social Change Agents. Tell me you're not blown away by that. I know you are. Okay. So it took a little bit of time, but it came up with a really, really good infographic, very colorful. All right. Now, it'll also do a mind map as well. So if we want a little bit more clarity, there are people that I work with that I have done some training for. That mind mapping is very important to child welfare and social service organizations. Didn't take it as long to do that, but this is what the mind map looks like. So it says the voice vault, and I press on that. And these are some of, discuss what these sources say about the voice vote in larger a context for the unmuted system. And you can, and it'll sort of go into highlighting story time and things of that nature. So just giving you additional information. So the mind map is certainly one thing that it will do. And I always like to, I call it training the model. Letting the model know exactly what I'm thinking about it and that it's done a great job for me.
Let me see that video overview.
Okay, now this is gonna blow your mind. I was getting to that, but I wanted to show you everything, kind of selectively, because when I get to the video overview, you're gonna be really blown away about by that. So give me a minute. Let's just go to flashcards
Okay.
and see what it comes up with in terms of flashcards. Now, flashcards are good because I teach public speaking and communication and I teach it with adolescents. So the flashcards are one way that I can help to drill them with some of the information. It gives me a whole packet of learning tools in my notebook that equip me as a trainer, equip me as a content creator. I mean, this just absolutely blows me away. The thing that's crazy about this is some of these tools are so great that I don't even want to share them. I'm like, I don't want to share this. I just want to be the only one that's doing this, that's using this. All right, so it's come up with the flashcards already. And if I want to, I can download them, put them on some card stock, and you to use them. What are the three main components of the unmuted speaker system? All right, so if I were teaching that, these are things that it would come up with, and those are what the flashcards look like. All right. So then, it will also come up with a slide deck for you. It can come up with a data table. And so, I might ask it to come up with frequently asked questions for this. If I were going to do something on Eventbrite, I might say, come up with frequently asked questions for the unmuted speaker program. And it would do that for me. It will generate a report based off of information, perhaps data that I need. So these are the parts that you've been waiting for. I'm going to do the video overview and I'm also going to do the
Let me
audio.
see the slide deck.
Okay, so the slide deck, I'm going to come back to that because the
Okay.
slide deck is a slide deck, right? We know we have great tools that can do slide decks. Let me go to the video overview because it does a slide deck in and of itself. Um, and so the slide deck is okay, but what I'm getting ready to show you with this video overview is going to blow your mind. And I'm just going to walk you through everything. And then what I want you to do is I want you to ask me questions. If I didn't answer anything, I want to be able to fill in the gaps. But while we're waiting for the slide gap to the video overview to generate, it's going to take a little bit of time because it's really coming up with a whole video overview. And it's going to explain some things. While we're waiting on this, what I want to say is, one of the things that's great about the video overview, because this is not something that I would actually put out to the community, this particular video overview, but what it does do is helps me study what I need to learn as a speaker so that I can hear, see, and present information that I believe is powerful. So it works as a tool for me as a speaker to hone my skill a little bit better. Now, a person certainly could use the video overview if they wanted to. Let's just say they wanted to send it to an organization to pitch about what it is they do, then they could certainly put that out and use that as a pitch. And we thought we were doing something when we had OneNote, right? But this has taken OneNote to a whole nother level. And I'm gonna be honest, when I was using OneNote, I liked it, but it got me really confused. And I remember when we were in the training department that was the big thing in the training department, having OneNote, knowing how to use OneNote. Well, I'm telling you, OneNote don't have a thing on this. What's your thought about this, Adela, so far as you're looking at everything?
I'm looking at it because I have a committee that I'm responsible for, and like you, that drive, that Google Drive, that stuff is everywhere. And
Uh-huh.
I'm constantly looking for it, and I would like to organize it where I can just go to it and put my hands on it and not have to go through everything. I also, my notes and things, I'm always looking for stuff. Even though it does have it where you can put it in the files, it's just something about Google Drive that makes it kind of cluttered. Let's just say that it's more cluttered. And this looks like it unclutters things for you, where you can find things. It's right there at your fingertips, which makes you work faster to get to things. And it makes you look organized. And so if you were uh, trying to pitch something to someone, you can go and get your things from your notebook. So I agree with you that the OneNote, while it was good back in the day, that's what it was back in the day, back before AI and back before all these tools and things. The other thing too about OneNote is that they make you pay all this money for it. This one, while it does have a free version, I would love to know what the paid version have, because if this is what is given in the free version, I can just imagine what it gives you in a paid version.
Right. Now, one of the things that I have found with this, and I think that's a great question because I did the same thing that you did. I said, okay, well, if this is what we get for the free version, I don't mind upgrading to the paid version. In most cases with ChatGPT, with Perplexity, with Claude, when you go to the upgraded version, you're going to pay $20, $30 a month. Well, the upgraded version to this is slightly higher than the $20, $30 a month. I think when I checked, the middle version was somewhere like 100, $124 a month, which was a little bit beyond my price range. I wasn't quite ready to pay that. And primarily because I have about 10 to 20 different AI tools that
Yeah.
are paying 20 to 25, $30 a piece for. And so I have had to recognize the fact that I'm an AI enthusiast. And so I don't need to have every single tool. What I'm doing for the year of 2026 is what are the tools that are going to make me money? Okay, that's what I'm about this year. I'm about what are the tools that are going to help me become profitable, help me become organized. This is a tool that's worth having because when you're not organized, when you're searching for things, when you can't find things, that's a time waster. Time waster means that we're eventually going to be wasting money as well. And that's not something that I want to do. When I think about child welfare and social service professionals, one of the things that I've really been trying to do on my channel is crack the communication code. What are the barriers that organizations have with ineffective communication? And one of those barriers is that they're just simply disorganized. They have meetings upon meetings upon meetings upon meetings, no way of really tracking what they're doing, no follow through for a lot of the meetings, no way to really build on what they need to build on. And although there's a lot of apprehension in social services, one of the things that I've been committed to this year is to present an AI tool in a very non-threatening way so that they can kind of look at the tool and see if this is something that they'd like to try or that they like to work with. And if they decide that it is something that they want to use or something that they want to work with, then they can actually contract with me, not for the overview of this, right? But they can contract with me to actually have a liaison that is monitoring and supporting how they develop their protocols in terms of what is the appropriate use for the organization and for their AI tools. So these are things that I'm presenting and creating for organizations so that they can get a feel for what's out there. You know, Adela, one of the things that I realized is that when I was in the trenches, when I was training every day or when I was doing frontline work every day, it prevented me from being able to learn anything. By the time I got off from work and I, dealt with my own family, I was zapped with energy. I didn't have any more energy to do anything. And I remember those days. I know that one of the things that you always talked about in social services that made you a thought leader in this area was the importance of getting home to your family. And we know that if you didn't have good organization skills, as you would often say, it would be hard to get home to your family. Now, I will admit this is taking a bit longer than most of our AI tools take, but it's going to be worth the wait. Anything you want to add, Adela, to this and organization, getting home to your family? Any questions that you have so far as we're moving forward?
So I do think that this would work for caseworkers. The one thing, though, I sense that they might be afraid of is taking personal information and putting it in an AI tool. And so that becomes something that is difficult, I think, for them. But I do think that one of the things that what they did not, a lot of caseworkers did not do is make templates. So you can make a template and not necessarily put the person's information in there, but make a template in here and then take it and put it somewhere else and put your information in there. And it's not in the AI tool, but using it to make templates to make it easy for you to just put that information in and it will then now make a report or something for you. So the only thing that that make gives me pause with a lot of this is that I think it would be difficult on child welfare putting people's information in there.
So you're absolutely correct. We cannot in any way put any identifying information about our clients into any of the AI tools. No names, no personal health information, no client numbers. None of that can go into the portals. But what we could look at doing when I think about training and how, you and I were in the training department and how we're creating materials in training, or when I think about people who are working with trauma, working with cans, maybe materials that are not identifying information or information that would have any of the clients per se information in it. But when we need to enhance materials, make things a little less boring, when we need to add some things to the training environment or the training room, we could certainly use these tools to do that. This particular tool, we would have to be very careful about as it relates to client information. And I wouldn't even, say put in a case note or anything like that in here because that information would have client information. But when I'm thinking about maybe, a report for court, is there a way that they could put very generic information and come up with a great template for court, like you're saying? That would be a great way to report or document information. Is there a way to do that? And
Especially like the questions that, create a checklist of the questions that you need to ask, number one, and also a checklist of the things that you need to have for court. So checklists are good because now you can go in and check, I got this, and that with it. And a checklist is not bad. And a template is not bad. Because if you create a template and you go out and you talk to somebody, you're just putting the information in the template based on the
ah,
questions that you're asking. Now, once you put that information into, I don't know what document, they're okay with you using Word and stuff like that. But, would Word create something where the template will then draw and make you a note? Or if they use what are they using now? They don't use Zoom. They use I,
Otter?
no, they don't use Otter. Uh like
Oh, Teams.
Teams, yeah. So even if you put something in Teams,
Okay, right. You could certainly do that. And a lot of the mechanisms now are, I mean, Teams, Zoom,
they all have AI.
they all have AI included because they were not going to let Otter outwork them, outpay them. They weren't going to lose any money. Okay, our video's ready. Okay, so
Okay.
let's get ready to watch the video. Okay, here we go. Now, again, I would not send this out. I would use this maybe to practice with or to get some ideas from, but here we
You
go.
know that feeling, right? You've got this amazing idea, a story that you just have to share, but you're just staring at a blank page, totally stuck on where to even begin. Well, today we're going to tear that page up. We're diving into a system that's designed to take you from that raw, brilliant idea all the way to a speech that really truly connects. I mean, this is the question, isn't it? It stops so many of us in our tracks. It can feel like you have to be some kind of magician, just conjuring a masterpiece out of thin air. But what if it wasn't magic? What if it's a craft, something you can learn with a clear process and the right tools? And that's exactly where the unmuted speaker system comes in. The best way to think about it is like an artisan's toolkit. It's this structured three-part process that gives you the confidence to build a speech from the ground up, piece by incredible piece. So here's how it breaks down. It's just three core steps. First, we have the voice vault. This is all about gathering your raw materials. Next,
So I'm going to pause it there because I want to really talk about where Unmuted came from. Unmuted is a book that I have that's coming out. It's called Unmuted, Leveling the Playing Field for Youth That Are at Promise. Not at risk, but at promise. I was one of those young people that was muted, and a teacher recognized that and forced me to read out loud verse from Nikki Giovanni's poem and also from Itazaki Shange's Korea poem for Keller girls who have considered suicide when the rainbow is enough. It was The Lady in Red, and I remember reading out loud that poem, and it was life changing for me. That educator actually unmuted me that day. And it's become a passion of mine to really help other people become unmuted. So that is the book that is literally at the publishers right now. And I've created a whole training system around that. And it also goes with the keynote. So I'm not going to go too much into that. There'll be more that'll be said about it. But I am going to do a little bit with the audio because what this does when we're looking at the audio is it's going to create a podcast for us. Now, this is crazy. So it will have the podcast that it's creating as well as the video that goes with it. Let's go over some of the tools that we have right now because we have the notebook that we uploaded. We have great summary, great questions. So as a content creator, I can use a lot of this information and I can go online and I can create content. And you know what? By the way, Adela, they say content creation, but that's nothing more than training. You know what I mean? That is
Hmm.
training, and that's what we've been doing all along. And now they're online on YouTube getting this material evergreen. And we've been doing this for how many decades? So now content creation is what we used to call training and facilitation. We are now online and have a much broader community that we can reach with content creation. So that's our new name, Adela. We're no longer known as only trainers. We are known as content creators as well. But in the course of the time that we spent together, we've created quite a few things. We've created an infographic that was quite amazing. Would you agree?
I agree.
All
Most
right.
definitely.
Colorful infographic. We created a mind map that gave us an overview of what we were working on. In addition to the summaries and the questions that we have, we created the unmuted speaker system, which I only played a little bit of it. I didn't play a lot of that. I only played a little bit of that. We have that. Now we're in the process of creating and generating the audio overview. So we're working on that. Some things that we won't get around to doing today that I want people to know that they are able to do is if you wanted to create a quiz. So let's just say I took this whole system and put it on my school community, which is a community that I'm starting to teach communication and crack the communication code. And for people who want to go a little bit deeper and becoming a better communicator in their personal lives as well as, in their work life and maybe even in the community. My school community is going to help them to do that. AI is one of the things that I use. It's one of the tools that helps us crack the communication code by helping us stay organized, helping us be able to understand various communication styles, minimize our workload so that we can be more attuned to the people that we're working with. AI helps us to do that. We've been able to create a 3-part unmuted speakers series. I don't know. We did the infographic, we did the mind map, we did the video overview. The only thing we didn't do was the report, the quiz, and you wanted me to do the slide deck. And I will do the slide deck for you, but I don't think the slide deck is entertaining as some of the other AI tools that we have that can do the slide deck. And then I felt like what they did with the video overview, pretty generic, but that was a slide deck to me that gave you, the video and the sound that went along with it as well.
So
Now,
a question that I do have is, can you change the voice on here?
absolutely, if I'm not mistaken, you can change the voice. And so if you see right here, and I don't want to touch this right now because I'm afraid that what'll happen is it might mess up
Right.
the audio. But I believe you can go in here. It says generate and explain video presentation to you by AI, and we could probably play around with the voice. I know you like your voices to be a lot smoother than this, you know what I mean?
Yeah,
Or you might
yeah.
want a voice that's similar to your own voice or a voice that is your own voice. And I'm not sure that it allows you to do that. So that would be something that I would have to check into if it could actually be your voice. And maybe not your voice, but what it does is it allows you to actually practice and get some tips on, what they might pull out that might be effective, an effective tool for
So
the
does it have a voiceover?
You know what? We'll look at that in just a minute. I think that's a
Okay.
great question, so we can pay attention and see if it does have a voiceover. I don't want to touch it right now because I don't want to
Oh,
mess
I know.
up the audio,
I
but
that
we're gonna We're going
I
to
was
actually, I know the audio allows you to pick different things. And I just went on and kind of pressed it, but there are some things that we can do. And, this allows us to do a little bit more right here. So we can rename this, we can download it, we can share it, or we can delete it, is what that allows us to do. But what we'll do in a few seconds when it finishes generating the audio, we'll actually go in and we'll look at what some of the features are with that. So we've created the flashcards. That's the other thing that I forgot to mention in the time that we've been working. We were able to create flashcards as well. So that is also a good thing. Now, this does take a lot longer than some of the other AI tools if you're going to be working and putting all of these things together. But it would take how much time do you think it would take you to create all of the things that we've created so far?
a whole
Infographic,
day, the whole
flashcard,
day.
right? The mind map. Okay, so now it's building, it says building the military. So we'll see what that says. Everything else says the unmuted, but let's see what the building the military is. That'll be interesting. All right, here we go.
Welcome back to the deep dive. Most people approach public speaking with this mix of improvisation and frankly panic. Oh yeah, that feeling. You have a presentation, you cobble together some slides, and you just hope you remember that one good story you told at dinner last month. Mm-hmm. Well, today we are tossing that entire approach out the window. We're diving into a comprehensive, almost military grade system designed to take all the guesswork out of powerful communication. Our source material is the unmuted speaker system. And what's so revolutionary about it is that it treats speaking not as some art form you either have or you don't, right, but as a repeatable, scalable engineering process. It's a tactical blueprint. And that structural rigor is the key we're here to unlock. It moves you way past the basic advice of, know your audience and practice more. It replaces it with concrete assets and blueprints. Yes. And the system breaks the whole communication lifecycle down into three distinct highly strategic phases. But first, you have the voice vault. That's your infrastructure for systematically gathering raw material, your foundational assets. I like that. Assets. Then there's the speech sculptor, which has actual.
Okay. So I am going to stop that. I see why they're calling it the military grade speaking system. I love it, and I am going to give it a good discussion. What did you think about the podcast and how they came up with that? Did you like that? Uh,
Um, I thought it was interesting. I did not like the first. I like to have uh, a younger speakers.
ah, okay, so let's look. These are the categories that we can choose from. Okay. So we can choose to have the deep dive, which is a lively conversation between two hosts, unpacking and connecting topics in your sources. We can have the brief. Now, you can also download this, and I'm assuming put it on Spotify and use it if you wanted to be able to generate, revenue from it because it's your work. It's from your notebook. This is your work
Right.
from your notebook. A bite-sized overview to help you grasp the core ideas from your sources quickly. You can do a brief, you can critique, an expert review of your sources, offering constructive feedback to help you improve your material, or you can do a debate, a thoughtful debate between two hosts, illuminating different perspectives on your sources. Now, I think this is amazing. I hear what you're saying that you don't really like the voices. You want to have something a little bit more, younger and a little bit more with it. I get that. But isn't this amazing that you can even come up with this concept and that you can create all of this work in this very short period of time? I'm
I
like,
know. How long we been on the phone? Like a half hour, and you did all this in a half hour?
yeah, we've been on about a half an hour, absolutely. And we created all of this work in a half hour. Now let's go into the video overview because you had some questions about that. And so we're actually going to find out some different things with the video overview. So I did not come in and look at all of this, Adela, and I'm glad that you did ask the question because we can do a couple of different things here. We can have the explainer, which is a structured, comprehensive overview that connects the dots within your sources, or you can just do a brief, a bite-sized overview to help you quickly grasp core ideas from your sources. The other thing that's interesting about this is we can have what we use as auto select. but it gives us some choices about custom, classic in terms of our visuals. Now, I'm not blown away by any of these visuals that I see here. They're okay, you know what I mean? And again, this wouldn't be something that I would use in terms of sending it out to as a pitch for myself. I need to make that pitch myself. The only other thing that we can change is the language. So we're here on English, and it'll give you the option to change to some other languages, which we're
Okay.
not going to do. It does not give us the option to change the voice, not for this. Okay. Now, it does say here, what should the AI host focus on? So you can give, I guess, some pointers. It says target a specific use case, present this to a book club, help me review for quiz. It says focus on specific sources, show the photos from the album, focus on the biology paper. Describe the show structure. Start by talking about mission, end with next steps. And then you can generate what you wanted to do. So you can give it tips and it'll generate what you wanted to do next. I like the voice, so I don't want to play around with it and lose it. So I'm not going to do that because you could perhaps put into the AI that you wanted to change the voice and maybe it would do that. But this certainly does help us crack the communication code so that we are able to do a better job communicating in our family, our work, and communities if we so choose. Adela, thank you. Any other questions that you have for this evening and for this particular session? Thank you for sitting in and letting me show you this.
No, I don't have any other questions. I think I had enough questions all throughout this. I am looking forward to getting my hands on it and putting some of my stuff in there and see what it actually does. I do think that it would starting to use this system, you have to allot yourself some time because as I can see when you were doing this, it does take some time to generate these things.
Right. It does take some time. And when we're using ChatGPT, Perplexity, or Claude, we can kind of zoom through and get the responses that we want. But you see how detailed each thing was. The infographics were extremely detailed. Everything that we worked on, it was just extremely detailed. So it's taken more time to do it than maybe some of the other AI tools. But this is what makes this different, Adela, is that this is our own material. The things that we've been working on putting in our notebooks, it's further developing it in ways that really does allow us to monetize as well.
Yeah. How did you find this?
Well, Adela, I am an AI enthusiast, which means it's my job to find these things.
Okay.
And so that's what I do. But I want to tell our listeners that if they'd like to hear more about how to crack the communication code, that they should tune into the next video that will give additional information on how they can do that. It's been wonderful being able to share this information.